I remembered my Porter's value chain, and I thought, well, that's a good place to sort of have a bit of an anchor, and and it breaks down all the parts of a business that create value, and it's a way of analysing a business. Inbound logistics, operations. You've got to be good at what it is you actually do. Outbound logistics in terms of distribution, particularly if you're a product. Marketing and sales, of course. I mean, the business owner needs to be the number one salesperson, as well as understanding their markets and who they're selling to, and not to mention procurement, IT. They're head of HR, etc. So and my thought was really that these things, they do manifest themselves in a cash flow forecast, don't they?
Yep. That's a P and a D, but I'll take that as 4 Ps. The Porter's model there, I think, is a perfect way of describing a business. It fits us as a software company. It fits consulting businesses. It fits manufacturing and physical goods based businesses as well. It's a good way to look at it. Because for me, a forecast is only really a story of the business. You don't sit down at the spreadsheet and start chopping numbers in. I think you've always got to start by knowing what the business is intending to do. And so a forecast really is just the plan for the business written in numbers, ideally. So it should take into account all of those 10 aspects that Porter talks about. Some of the best business modeling I've ever done. I think, Castaway is a budgeting tool, a cash flow tool, a forecasting tool, but I think at its peak, it's used as a business modeling tool. And I think it's an advancement beyond just forecasting. I think there's a lot we can talk about forecasting, but for me, forecasting is really about getting a sense of the model of the business. You want to set something up so you can do what ifs and scenarios continually, to try and sort of answer some of those uncertainties in the future. One thing I picked up when I saw that Porter's model, I've long thought that accountants report upside down. We start with the P&L, we go to the balance sheet next. We start at sales, we go to cost of sales, we go to overheads, profit, and then we go to the balance sheet, so cash and assets and liabilities and equity. That's how an accountant sees the world. I am an accountant, or a reformed accountant, so I kind of get that. The entrepreneur, I'm also an entrepreneur, sees it entirely differently. We start with equity. We say, how much money have we put in? How much additional funding have we raised to sort of build up our capacity to invest? What assets have we then acquired with that funding? And then what working capital gets tied up? Then when it comes to the P&L, we start with overheads, because I reckon overheads have often been denigrated, have long been denigrated as being they're the things you've got to try and cut. Overheads give you the capacity to run a certain scale of business. They are the most important thing. They're the foundation for running any business. And then you've got production, whatever it is you're producing, whether it's a service or a good or whatever. Then you've got production. And then finally, you get to do marketing and then sales. And that's I think, the way that Porter has laid that out at the top. It talks about firm infrastructure, then human interaction and technology and the like. You've got to have all those pieces in place first before you can even think about making or selling anything. For us, the best forecasting exercises are those that talk through the flow of the business. Lots of examples we can talk about. I did a lot of work with mining companies the last sort of 5 to 10 years ago. And I walked into one organization and they had forecasts all over the place. They used to reforecast regularly, had KPIs. So one organization had 4 pages of KPIs, 4 A4 pages full of KPIs. They measured everything and understood very little, to paraphrase Oscar Wilde. And that's what they brought us in for, to try and help unpick, why is it that we measure so much stuff, but people didn't understand enough of what was going on. Back then we were teaching people commercial acumen.